Gentlemen, let's move over and now talk about the campaign mode now, and I'll come to you, Dokelo. We see the president back on campaign mode. In fact, listen to what the president had to say.
Hawa watu ya makelele hii wanasumbua, wanapiga makelele sijui mitandao wapi. Hawa watu wako na kazi ngumu sana. Kushindana na mimi, hawa wako na kazi ngumu. Si mambo yao ni kuchora tu kwa internet na kuzunguka na fitina. Hawa watu tawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema.
Honorable Kelo, is there a winning formula in the 2027? Should we even be talking about this at this particular point?
Can we put that into context? Can we put that into context? Because
we don't get a chance.
I want us to put this thing into context. All right.
Let me say this. The president is actually addressing the same Gen Zs because they are the people who are, keyboard warriors. Mm-hmm. You don't really expect my mother, who is now 75 years, using her phone to tweet or to write anything on Facebook and stuff. No. He's actually addressing the young people. And what the president is alluding to is that, that agitation by young people may actually lead into a candidate that they will rally behind. That is exactly what the president is saying. And he's equally saying that if they will get to that stage where they're using social media as the platform for their campaigns, then he will defeat them early morning because there are no votes in social media. There is no polling station called X or Facebook. So basically that is what he's saying. He's saying you have to leave your comfort zone. Go and meet with the electorate. Sell your agenda as he is doing so that you can now galvanize the entire country and rally them behind you. That is basically what the president is saying. Remember, President Ruto is a beneficiary of a 5-year non-stop campaign. Immediately they got into office in 2013, the man started moving across the country, launching what had been launched, launching anew, talking about politics.
5 or 10 years campaign.
Actually 10, yeah, 10, because the first 5, he was campaigning for President Uhuru to be re-elected. Then the 5 was his own. So 10 years on sunroof, vehicle, mounting himself, selling his agenda, and that is how he won. So engineers would tell you...
I thought you guys said he didn't win as ODM.
Well, now we are now.
Why can't you allow Honorable Jared to just prosecute his case?
We are into now. Okay? We spoke, the Supreme Court had their own, and now the Supreme Court is being subjected to petitions, which I like, okay? But he's a beneficiary of that consistent campaigns. Yeah. And, engineers will tell you, when it works, don't fix it. So it worked for him then. He can't fix it now. That is the only style that he understands. Now, whether he will, concoct a winning formula for 2027 is another ballgame. But remember, when he was angling to become a candidate, he made frantic efforts in Mount Kenya because of that, vote basket. And he got it. So now you can see he's targeting his guns at Western Kenya and Nyanza. Whether that is going to yield any meaningful fruits, time will tell. But let me tell you, Prime Minister Raila Odinga was a candidate.
Prime Minister.
Well, there is no current. Yeah. In fact, in America, they just call President Obama. It is only in Kenya and Africa where they will want to tell you, no, you are former. So the Prime Minister was a candidate in 97. He emerged number 3. Thereafter, he has either been a kingmaker, which he did in 2002, or a formidable candidate, for decades on end. And therefore, it will be foolhardy to believe that whether he's in Kenya or in Addis, that he will play no cardinal role in whoever becomes the president, or even run himself as a candidate. I don't know. We still have 2.5 years. He may as well say, let's rally behind President William Ruto. And remember, elections are actually next month in Addis. out of 50 million of us, there's only one person with a vote that will help Baba. And that is only William Samoei Ruto. And Baba knows as much. So I do not think that if Baba so chooses to hold on to his job at AUC, he will not pay back William for what he has done to him. I would doubt that. But, you know, politics is quite fluid. Anything can change at whatever time. Yeah. But also remember that the only candidate that may run against him would be Rigathi. The argument would be that when you are impeached, you cannot run for any political or appointive office for 10 years. But remember, there is the presumption of innocence until proven otherwise by a court of law.
Yeah.
Rigathi would do as much as he can to delay this court process as much as possible. Because once you've not exhausted all the appellate channels and you have a pending court matter, no one stops you from running. That is why today there will be a decision being made whether the composition of that panel, the empaneling of judges, the 3 judges led by Ogolla, was actually in tandem with the laws. Yeah. Because he claims that they had already expressed some biases. So that is, we have not even gotten to the substantive matter. Yeah. We are still on peripheral, you know, objections here and there. What he's trying to do, and you know, he benefits from very good legal advice. Drag this case, because by the time they will be coming now to discuss the substantive matter, it will be end of this year. Then a decision will be made by High Court that he actually lost fairly in the impeachment process. Then he will move to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal will take another 1 year. A decision will still be made that there was no error by Parliament to impeach him. Then he will move to the Supreme Court. And when you see the Supreme Court judges being exposed to a petition by none other than the former LSK president, is not an idle endeavor. Because the Supreme Court, as is currently constituted, if all the allegations that have been leveled against them on corruption is anything to go by, then they may actually clear Rigathi and say, Parliament add, the Court of Appeal add, High Court add, and therefore he ought to have been legally in office. That then gives him a leverage to run. So he may be a candidate. I'm not saying he will, but he may be. And remember, immediately after the impeachment, Kalonzo Musyoka started making forays in central Kenya as the alternative candidate. That has since stopped because Rigathi has seen that he could actually run, and therefore we don't need Kalonzo. That is why now Kalonzo is talking to himself in press conferences in his home, not even in the field, in his home. So things are going to change, but...
ideally, you're supposed to be the same coalition. You know? It's supposed to be Azimio. So when you say...
It should be Azimio, but you know, he has...
No, Azimio bolted long time ago.
He has held a series of press conferences. We are never invited. We only see him on TV alone, and sometimes with Jeremiah Kioni. A party that has benefited 3 cabinet secretaries, if they don't really merit, but they have benefited. So I see him with Kioni there alone. And we are never invited, just like Muturi is saying, I was not properly for the Kakamega cabinet meeting. So we are also not properly invited for all this press conference.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But did you also invite him to your conferences?
That's a fundamental question, but you'll answer. Let's talk about this campaign.
Are we back to campaign mode? Is it too early? Is it too early for campaign? Because it's not only the president who's talked about 2027. Right. Quite a number of them have said that he's coming back. In fact, even Kimani Ichung'wah also said the same thing. People are saying Ruto must go, but we are saying Ruto must go on. There are those who blatantly said that it doesn't matter, even if the votes don't get where they should. We will still make sure that he wins.
Article 131 of the Constitution on the authority of the president says the president shall promote and enhance the unity of the nation, promote respect for diversity of the people, and communities. Those are the constitution words. Diversity of community and of people. Now, whether it is being on top of a car, which is the issue, but how do you address so many people? We come out like that in the rural when there's a safari rally or there's something going on, I guess a team is passing. So what makes it campaign? Is it the words? Is it the standing? How do you address an impromptu crowd in the rural if you have a strong microphone and you have a vehicle that has an open roof and you can stand because you are not so tall that everyone can see you unless you climb a tree? So what makes this a campaign? And if you look at the conversation, it was about unity. It was about diversity of communities. It was about that my agenda is about uniting the country. Now that runs directly into 131, the authority of the president and the function of the president, which is to promote respect for diversity of the people and community of Kenya. And you know, there's a thin line between maybe politics and governance, because one thing I really makes me proud of Kenya is that we are able to reset. We are able to always reset. We are able to always get our brotherhood right, or at least try work in terms of nationhood. The biggest gift is when the people that were maybe looking like enemy become your brothers and friends. And that is in the Constitution in terms of uniting. So if the president is in Western, a region that is not, the parliament is in Nairobi, the Supreme Court is in Nairobi, he goes to Western, find people, and a lot of them, by the roadside, stand to address them on the issue that my agenda is to unite Kenya. Is that politics? And if it is...
Is that what you heard?
Yeah, in the clip he was talking about wale wengine wako na sera ya kugawanya, yeah. Sisi ni sera ya kuunganisha wa Kenya.
Is that what you heard?
Yeah, in that clip.
Let's play that clip.
No.
Let's play that clip.
No, he was castigating the social media influencers.
The social media.
Again from the
social media influencers.
Yeah. Play that again.
Yeah. And that is why I said
hawa watu ya makelele hii wanasumbua, wanapiga makelele sijui mitandao wapi. Hawa watu wako na kazi ngumu sana. Kushindana na mimi, wako na kazi ngumu. Si mambo yao ni kuchora tu kwa internet na kuzunguka na fitina. Hawa tutawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema.
Trevor, little Juang finished. Yeah. He's saying that he hears a call for unity there.
Yeah, because he's saying, because the next sentence is that because I'm about uniting Kenyans and bringing Kenyans together.
No, but tutawanyorosha
asubuhi na mapema. Were you there? Were you in Western?
No, I had the clip. Not the sound bite. Okay. You know, I'm not very good with sound bites. I listened to the whole thing. But now, even so, here is a case that is saying, I have an agenda. And that agenda is ABCD. It will again be reviewed in 2027. And with that agenda, that is a continuous statement.
Okay.
I am working. It will get to 2027. They shall be reviewed.
Yeah.
I know nitawalima because this agenda will be successful. Is that yes, kunyorosha? Yes.
Trevor, I really.
How is that not work?
Allow me to just put this to context.
Trevor, that was a metaphor.
Yes.
We cannot fault president for saying nitawanyorosha.
Okay.
What
And
is saying that I will defeat them early morning.
Okay.
So that is exactly what I wanted to say, Trevor. Let's put this thing to context.
Yeah.
The president used the specific quotes. Kazi yao ni kuchora. Kazi yao ni kwa mtandao. Nitawanyorosha mapema. Wako na kazi ngumu. Nitawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema. Kazi yao ni ngumu. Those are the normal Kiswahili cliche words that we all know every other day. And that is why, if we don't put them to context, we lose the point.
Yeah.
Here, the president was speaking on not a campaign platform, but on a tour of a region to showcase what the government has delivered for the people of Western.
Correct.
Among them, of course, is the fact that we haven't had, for instance, the issue on sugar for the very first time, getting that bonus. And it is something that when we now put into context, we will not say the president is campaigning or the government has begun an early campaign. And if we were to be very objective and avoid politics at play, besides the government or the president, so to speak, advancing the core value that is pushed on top of his agenda, bring together all the people of Kenya to the government, the broad-based government. That in itself is not to say the president has abandoned the Kenya Kwanza plan. It was one of the manifesto items. I sat in that team for the longest. Dr. Ojwang was one of them. Bringing together all the Kenyans. What he's doing, when he was speaking on that platform, besides everything else he said, he was captured making those 4 or 5 words. Nitawanyorosha, kazi yao ni ngumu, ni kuchora. And it's sort of being interpreted to mean he was campaigning. Instead, he was telling people that we have a job to do, and part of it is what we are doing right now. And I want us to look at it now in the context of going round, not to launch, but to commission projects. For instance, what he was doing in Kakamega to give the sugarcane farmers tea, not tea, but I come from a tea growing zone, sugar bonuses. It is something that has never happened. Why can't we embrace this? The president is telling the people of Kenya and of Kakamega, you're part and parcel of this government. It doesn't matter whether you voted in ODM or whatever party then. We are one government. We serve the rest of the people of Kenya. So there isn't any early campaign as we speak right now. And as Jared had said, you know, Kenya Kwanza is actually implementing its Kenya Kwanza plan page by page. It's only that, unfortunately, we concentrate on the negatives, which is normal, because what sells, particularly in a political environment, is the negative aspect of it. What the Kenya Kwanza government has done, if we were to give them the opportunity, they have done beyond expectations. The few things, don't laugh, my friend. In this government, there has never been a government that has employed 73,000 teachers in record 2 years' time being in office, from the time we gained independence. And Dr. Okuru wouldn't want me to speak about it. He would want me to speak about the other things. We are talking about things which have happened. The agriculture sector has improved. He earlier on spoke about the government giving people food or fare to school. That is not what a government is supposed to do. The government has attempted to bring a very, stabilized economy. When we got into power, this government was being auctioned. He wouldn't want to speak about it. Yet the economic status of this country has now stabilized. The dollar was at 160. Right now it's at 128. It's been stable for quite a while. Fuel has never gone up from the time Kenya Kwanza came into power. They wouldn't want us to speak about it.
It's been going up.
No. So I'm trying to say, when the president showcases what he has done, whether in Western, in Eastern, Coast, Rift Valley, or Central, he's not campaigning. He's telling the people of Kenya that we've got a job to do, and as a matter of fact, being now the uniting factor, he's the father of the nation, he needs to speak. That is exactly what he was doing. He's decided to spend a whole 1 week in Western Kenya, Kakamega, going around, having his first, I think, cabinet meeting outside Nairobi. Nairobi, as Ojwang said, this is where everything else is. That Mama Mboga in Kakamega, in Quisero, would want to hear the president what he's saying. When he goes to open a value addition market or an aggregation center in such a place, that is something that has never happened. And the people now, in terms of appreciating what the government has done, his president is telling them, we've brought this to you, and it is for your benefit. So let's allow also some leverage of positives to come out of the president telling the people of Kenya this is it. And as I end on this particular bite, let me call it, you see, the president also is letting the people know that he is in a political office. He's brought in all the people of Kenya to his broad-based government.
Yeah.
We have got representation from Turkana, from Coast, from northeastern Kenya, from central Kenya, from Luo Nyanza, from western, from Rift Valley. He has done what is expected to do as a president, bring together the people of Kenya. We are at peace, by the way. It's only that we do not want to appreciate some of these things. Look at what happened on the 25th of June when the Gen Zs attacked the parliament. That is the time when you come to appreciate and value peace and unity.
Okay.
If it were not to be that we are peaceful, we wouldn't be celebrating the conversation we're having this morning on this platform. We would be worried whether I'll be able to exit. So those are some of the achievements that we should let people know and say, when the time for politics comes, we will politic. And of course,
Trevor. Trevor.
You see, you've reiterated the same thing again.
You see, Trevor, Trevor, I think for me, one of the things that I've always said, and I challenge my friends Sige and others, can we at least at some point have a very honest conversation about our country? Because it's not right to come to national television and lie that Kenya is united. It's not. As a matter of fact, maybe I agree. Kenyans are united against this government.
What are you trying to say?
Maybe that is the truth. That there's unity.
Listen to yourself, Dr.
Let him finish.
Yes, he's saying, on the one hand, let's have a conversation about whether Kenya is united.
Exactly.
On the other hand, he's saying Kenya is united against his government. Don't approbate and reprobate counsel. You know that. Okay. Let us just be frank and say it is the effort that the president is doing to unite the people of Kenya.
Okay, let him finish.
That is the objectivity that I would be very happy to hear from you.
I will repeat. There is unity in this country against this failing government. I will re-emphasize. Kenyans are united against this government, especially the Gen Z, you know? And let me go back to that clip. The president is actually bragging that he will defeat. That's a political statement he was making, that the Kuja 2027, if that's not, politics, what is it? Why is he referring to 2027? Ati nitawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema.
He didn't say 2027. Let's replay.
He said nitawanyorosha.
Yes, he didn't say in 2027.
Yeah, he's referring to gay.
Yeah, but the only next election.
Every morning when he wakes up and do something good,
and Nyorosha every morning whenever he's doing something. Yes, against this negative statement you're saying.
But I want to bring in a more substantive issue. Of course, we know the president was referring to 2027, and of course he's campaigning. He's been campaigning for the last 3 years.
You don't know that.
Yeah. Now, be that as it may, I see a panicky president when I listen to that speech. He's threatening guys who are using social media, but it's the same person, same government who are actually propagating a false that there is no IEBC. The reason they are saying there is no IEBC is because they do not want to register the Gen Zs, because that is a vote that will determine who comes in as the next president or government in 2027. Statistics show that almost every year we have 1 million young people who turn 18. You know? So in 5 years, you're talking about 5 million. President William Ruto, I don't know whether you're now or Honorable Gerald will agree that he won or lost by 200,000 votes. But if you look at the vote of 5 million plus the 8 million that never actually went to vote that time, so there's a real threat here. And for me, I want us to debunk this notion, Trevor, that there is no IEBC. The registration of voters happens in all the 290 constituencies. Offices. Yeah? You do not need a commissioner to register voters. My daughter turned 18 last year. She got an ID and she wanted to go and register as a voter. But we are being treated to these false lies that there is no IEBC. There is IEBC.
Secretariat is working.
The secretariat is working. They are the ones who run the day-to-day affairs of the commission. You know, and the reason why this government is delaying the appointment of those commissioners now that they are going into cahoots with these other Azimio, because they are now all collaborating. Delay, IEBC as much as the commission as much as possible, then you have an excuse. You're trying to create a constitutional crisis. Because remember, you must have an IEBC at least 2 years, clear 2 years before the next election.
Yeah.
So what is the reason you're not registering Kenyans who have turned 18? Yet we have got all these 290 constituencies. So the president is panicking that watu wa mtandao wacha wachape tu kelele yao. It's true. I mean, I agree with the Honorable General Doctor here that there is no polling station in called X or Facebook. Yeah? But then register them.
Yeah.
Then you will see a polling station.
Right. Fair enough.
So I wanted to correct
because
my brother.
Marijan is the CEO. He's the one running the affairs of the IEBC right now.
Okay.
And by the way, based on the principle of, I'm trying to remember that in law.
Necessity.
Yes, principle of necessity. He's actually a commissioner in official capacity.
Okay.
So you cannot say
a secretary.
He's a secretary.
Okay, direct question. Will UDA and ODM field both presidential and deputy presidential candidates? This is a story that has been heard in the political sphere.
In politics, everything is possible, and you never say can never. So I would not run away from such a possibility, especially if Baba chooses to stay in Addis and only comes back to give political direction as he has always done. But one thing that I would want to make clear is regardless of what turns out in the ensuing elections, ODM party, which is led by none other than the Prime Minister, Dr. Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga, will be in the next government. ODM party will form the next government. That you can take to the bank. But I wanted to also disabuse a notion here. My brother Sigei did allude to the fact that the price of fuel hasn't gone up since President Ruto assumed office. That's not true. Immediately he got into office, he removed all the fuel subsidies, you remember, and the prices went beyond the roof. But now they are trying to stabilize day by day. I know our time is up, and therefore let me say this. The president, I know, watches Citizen TV, especially this show, and most of when I'm on TV. Please.
So are you communicating to the president?
Yes, I'm communicating to the president. Please, he pledged in Homa Bay to help stop abductions. Let him follow on his word. A leader is judged by how he executes his word. No, word is key. That is where trust comes from. So, President, if you have the wherewithal to stop these abductions, please stop them. If it is being done by your security agencies, ask them to stop. If it is done by criminal gangs, pursue those criminal gangs and hold them to account. Kenyans are running out of patience by this issue of killings, unwanted killings, each and every day. The president accepted to bend backwards during the Gen Z protests. For one, somebody dissolved cabinet through agitation of the public. He fired, though christened resignation, the police chief. How many times would somebody fire a police chief? So he made several changes in his government because of the agitation from the young people. He needs to bend backwards the more by just incorporating the views of these people. He should not really be scared by what is being written on social media. I mean, these children are jobless because we haven't created enough jobs for them. If they are jobless and they have phones with bundles, they will write something. But that does not feed into what exactly will happen. I'm a leader. I'm as a member of parliament. I read, even on the pages where I'm a member, on those WhatsApp groups, they insult me every now and again. If I was to pursue them, I would not have time for any meaningful work. The president, you have more than enough on your plate. Just concentrate on your mandate. And probably, if you may forget, your mandate is captured in our constitution. Okay. Go and read under the presidency and what the president ought to do. Forget about these noises.
Okay.
Kenyan politics can change in a span of 1 week. You may be very unpopular today, but if you correct all these missteps and shortfalls, you will still get to be re-elected if you do the right thing. But if you have to chase the squirrels and the elephants and the antelopes are running away, it will be for you to lose. So the president, because you listen, just do the right
and because you are addressing him now.
Yes. I'll come to you, Duncan. Let's take some quick feedback, then I'll start with you as we wind up as well and give all of you just a minute for closing remarks. Let's see what the people are saying here on the State of the Nation. Quite a lot coming through. Bobo Tieno says the face-off between President William Ruto and CS JB Muturi clearly shows that Mount Kenya is slipping away and wasn't happy with the broad-based government and the impeachment of former DP Rigathi Gachagua. Okay? Talai says, if this government would concentrate on delivering promises they made during campaigns, every Kenyan would be happy. Okay? J.M. Musoma says, ask Dr. Juang and MP Okello, when Nurdin Haji became good to ODM, yet in 2022, when he was investigating Joho and Junet, Raila said that Nurdin Haji has become the biggest threat to justice, the rule of law and accountability. Okello was among those calling him out. Okay.
Internet doesn't forget.
Kimani Kenneth says the president has realized that governance is a difficult job and is back to what he knows best. He campaigned for 4 years for the presidency. Nothing is working for us. Okay? Frank Orinde says insecurity and abductions are on the rise and the government seems asleep at the wheel. Citizens live in fear as security agencies fail to act decisively. Police move in unmarked vehicles like thugs. The economy is in shambles with families struggling to make ends meet. Okay. Remy Butia says, as Kenyans, we need to build from where we are and move forward as a people. Leaders must put the interests of the citizens first before self and personal gratifying interests. Samuel says Ruto's tour of Western Kenya this week reflects a clear focus on the region's economic potential with investments in projects like the Lower Nzoia Water Initiative and modern markets like Luanda to foster growth. Okay? Godi Baraza says President Ruto has engaged the campaign mode gear, taking tangible development projects to Mount Kenya while holding prayer meetings in Cheptais and letting loose Ishungwa to go ballistic on Western Kenya leaders in funerals. All right? Honorable B. Mutua says the MP is clearly a clear indication of how ODM has become a praise and worship team, more like the choir master. How would he allude that the security forces did a good job in killing young Kenyans during the Gen Z agitation? So this is very careless talk.
He didn't say that.
Okay? Ojuang, I'll start with you closing remarks. I'll give you all a chance for closing remarks. Then
I think if Kenyans learn to see the elephant and not the squirrel. It's interesting that somebody misses the elephant but can see clearly a squirrel. Yesterday, the cabinet did the boldest thing in dissolving state-owned enterprises, merging, restructuring, and dissolving quite a number of moribund state corporations based on a report that was done 12 years ago. Now, that is bold. If that is what we call campaign, and I'm just giving you that as an example of how we have become very negative, because that was the biggest thing and the boldest thing and the baddest thing that has ever happened, that they took that report by Abdikadir Mohammed and the team, implemented it, and rolled out and said, we are going to save for Kenya, the nation is estimating it at 800 million a year, that is going to be saved by that move. Now, that was done. Instead of seeing the elephant, people are very good at seeing a squirrel. Instead, we are seeing a clip where the word kunyorosha has been done, yet the whole essence of the cabinet meeting was to dissolve and to abide by this report. Yeah. Why am I saying this? I've become very aware of mental health. The Bible is saying whatever is positive, whatever is good, reflect about this. We cannot be, and it's not healthy to live this way. We cannot be a country, and I'll quote here, you'll run nuts one day. You cannot be a country of negative.
Okay.
Even the Israelites, when they were in slavery, they were told, marry until when God shall take you back to your land. Okay. We cannot be people who only look for negative every day, and that is not healthy for us, not healthy for our young people, not healthy for our court, and not healthy for anyone, even for media.
All right, Jared, I think it's time for you that you clarify the statement that came through. I think you mentioned it, but still it's that it was misunderstood on what you meant when you said that they did, the police officers did a fantastic job during the siege in Parliament.
I didn't even say the police.
Yeah.
The police actually failed. That is how the young people managed to gain entry into Parliament. Yeah. Okay. So if the police acted proactively, then that breach could not have happened. Okay. But what I did say is that we were tipped by NIS. I was very particular. National Intelligence Service gave us a tip that from the look of things, the young people are overwhelming the police and they're likely going to come into Parliament. And that is how they never found us in the chambers. That is what I said. I cannot praise killings. I have lost relatives in the hands of the police. I have lost very close friends. But even if they were not my relatives and friends, they are my citizens. They are our Kenyans. We cannot allow one life to be lost through the barrel of a gun, because one life lost is just too many. Yeah. But, you know, people choose to fathom issues the way they like.
Negativity.
And I don't want to get into that direction because I'm very particular. I'm a member of Parliament who carries out oversight. I oversight the work of the police. And I cannot praise the police when they go wrong. But I will praise them when they do the right thing, because I cannot remain negative all through and through. There is a time when there was weaponization of our politics using the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. And somebody has alluded to Joho, Junet, and company. If cases were being pushed by the regime of the day and the office of the DPP took those matters to court or just sat on them, because really, if Joho was taken to court, what was the resultant consequences? Zero. If Junet was arrested, what was the resultant consequences? Zero. Whoever was at the helm at the time was the same Nurdin Haji, who never pursued any case against Joho, never pursued any case against Junet and company. So when the regime of the time was weaponizing our politics, and Baba, together with my coterie, came out and said, this is wrong. Nurdin Haji, do not allow yourself to be used. And of course, he kept away from being used. I have to say Nurdin did a good job. And he's doing a good job even up to now. I just told you the amount of bombings that could have occurred into this country that have been thwarted by the efforts of Nurdin Haji and company. Now, when this country collapses, because the negativity around everything that goes on feeds into the fact that people want this country to collapse. You will collapse with it inside. Don't think that when it collapses, you will be far away. Finally, allow me just 10 seconds. I know. Just 10 seconds. You know, all these noises started when ODM got into government. And that is when the government all of a sudden became very bad. When we are out there making noises, and by the way, the last payslip Baba saw was in 2013 as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. But Kenyans expect him not to be voted in and make noise for free. I mean, why? That's what I'm saying.
I'll be very brief. That's a good one. First of all, listening to Honorable Okello, you is my good friend. I can't help just reading so much political psychophancy. You are trying to propagate this narrative, Mheshimiwa, that there is too much negativity. Citizens of a country have expectation about their government. They are looking into prosperity. When a government makes promises and those promises are not delivered, what do you expect the citizens to do? of course they will criticize that government. That's not necessarily negativity. If Gen Zs wake up this morning, they don't have jobs, I mean, you are promised bundles in every ward by this presidency, and it's not there. And I'm sure
they still have them.
No, yes, they do, by their own effort. So I think it is wrong to propagate the narrative that there is too much negativity in the country, because people have got that expectation from a government. That should not be, let's not condemn that.
Okay.
I mean, when you expect ABCD from your government and it isn't happening, and you call it out, and you see, me, I'm really shocked with ODM. Yeah, you know, right now, these are the same people who were castigating William Ruto, calling him all manner of names, that he's a thief, land grabber, and all that. All of a sudden, because just 4 of their members have been incorporated in the government, now William Ruto has become that angel. You know? So the pretense, the lying. Yes, I know William Ruto lies a lot as a president, but now even ODM has joined in that fray of lying.
Okay.
And now they're talking about AUC. After all, by the way, AUCs will be a tough call for Baba.
Okay.
Just in case.
Trevor, I want to close by saying that you listening to Ekuru as he closes, the same narrative of cheap biting, publicity and statements. He's actually headed there, and it's very intentional. Why do you want to castigate a very global, noble effort by the president to bring on board everybody? It doesn't matter. He's talking about only 5 of ODM members. It's not 5. The 5 are cabinet secretaries who've joined the government. The rest of Kenyans have joined the effort
what do you mean by the
bring
rest of Kenyans?
together the people of
Sige,
Kenya. Allow me to finish. And so I want us to say, let's celebrate the democracy that we have and the effort by the president to unite the people of Kenya and to diversify his government. Let us celebrate it, because with that, we will say we are open. And I want to encourage Kenyans, including my friend Ekuru here, to criticize. It is in fact good to criticize the government. Even all manner of things, it is normal, because when you criticize,
don't say we are negative.
Continue to criticize, but I would wish that criticism is objective, so that we continue advancing the service delivered to the people of Kenya. And to the president and his team, forget about the naysayers. They are on the right track. Implement the plan, serve the people of Kenya, roll out your sleeves, move out to the places where there are projects which you need to tell the people of Kenya what we are doing. And I'm very sure with this broad-based government and the criticisms and the naysayers, whatever broad-based government, not bread-based, it's broad-based, we will at least be able to take Kenya to the place where we all desire to be. Thank you.
One second, Trevor. One second. I just want to remind Kenyans one thing. If you listen to Ibrahim Traore during the inauguration of President Mahama, he actually spoke about Kenya. He said,
Ekuru, we have really run out of time. We are done here. Thank you so much for making time, gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time, gentlemen. That has been State of the Nation. Bye for now.